Hi, this is Roger Green, host of the Surfing the NASH Tsunami podcast. This week, we are offering 4 conversations from episode 21, our first EASL Congress preview episode with Vice-Secretary Aleksander Krag and Education Councillor Sven Francque. Plus, from the vault, conversation 32.3 from season 3, part of our same-day coverage of last year's International Liver Congress. As we discussed in this episode, the ILC title has been retired and replaced by EASL Congress this year. This conversation introduces our audience to Aleksander Krag, currently Vice-Secretary of EASL and incoming Secretary for a 2-year term after this meeting. We learn about how Aleksander found his way to hepatology, what excites him most about the specialty, and his path to leadership in EASL. We also learn about his very interesting and unique, one thing you wouldn't know, hobby. After Aleksander's introduction, he and Sven Francque, our past guest and education counselor to EASL, discuss what they believe will make this meeting special. Aleksander describes the diversity of presentations and sessions in the meeting, and also some exciting and innovative outreach activities EASL is conducting in Vienna around the time of the conference. Sven notes that there are sessions targeted at every NASH stakeholder, not only physicians, but also nurses, allied professionals, caregivers, advocates, and of course patients. Sounds fascinating. As this conversation and the simple fact of a name change imply, the EASL Congress 2023 is poised to be a major breakthrough event in our community. This conversation captures some of the excitement and dynamism that EASL leaders feel about the event, and how excited the co-hosts are as well. So just sit back, listen, enjoy, learn, and when you're done, join the conversation in our LinkedIn discussion group. This is a great episode for us. We look forward every year to the major conferences, and because our coverage of EASL usually starts about a month in advance and has a couple of preview episodes in it, and then episodes at the Congress, and then post episodes. And this is the first of those. So before I talk to our guest, let me just say good evening to Jörn, who's doing double duty tonight. He's joining me for this, and then for half an hour extra so that's part of another episode in June, right when we get done. Jörn, how are you this evening?
Jörn Schattenberg.
I'm great, thank you. Had a great weekend, and I was just joking with Sven earlier. We had the European Song Contest. Germany never gets a vote. They always finish up last. Not sure where that is, but otherwise it was good.
And then Louise is with us still in Australia, so she's in a very, very dark room in Perth. Louise, how are you this evening besides tired?
Louise Campbell.
I'm very well, thank you very much. I'm bright and breezy. Looking forward to listening to what the guys have to say about the upcoming conference.
And me as well. And then the guest we have with us, who you folks are familiar with from before, is Sven Francque, who's education counselor for EASL and was with us for a couple of times, I think, last year at NAFLD Summit, maybe 1 or 2 other times. Sven, how are you doing today?
Sven Francque.
I'm very fine, thank you, Roger.
And the guest that we have who you've not met is the Vice-Secretary of the EASL, Aleksander Krag. Aleksander, how are you this evening?
Aleksander Krag.
Very good, thank you, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, thank you for agreeing to participate. It's a great event every year, and this is an episode we really like. So why don't we do this? Since you've not been on the podcast before, please take a minute or two and just tell people a little bit about your work history, how you became interested in hepatology, and what you do now. And then when you're done, I will ask you to share with our audience one thing they might not guess about you if you didn't tell them. And I'll come back to that question when we need to. The floor is yours, my friend. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'll try to do my best. So I'm a clinical hepatologist. I have to admit it's a bit embarrassing. I started out actually with a bit of interest in GI, but quickly learned that the liver was more exciting, and particularly also the research and the patients, more variation, I think more challenges, and that sort of just inspired me. And then I went down the track there with a clinical research. I did PhD, did my specialty training. But then I think a big game changer for me was internationalization. First time I got my abstract accepted for EASL, it was just, what we call it, some of these moments, defining moments. Suddenly I was there among equally minded people from all over the world. Wasn't that just amazing? And then I kept doing that, and I grew my network and my attachments to this. So I guess I feel part of the liver family, the international, the global liver family. And that has sort of been driving me. And then here in more recent years, then you become more of a leader. And then it's actually your time to inspire the next generation of hepatologists to go do best in clinics, best in patients care, but it's all about what is really driving that great research, because we always need more knowledge. And there I have a very privileged positions where I am in the hospital and university to be able to do that. So that I'm very happy with and proud of. And then 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to join the EASL governing board, and then I could do even more, because then suddenly you can help run the best medical society, probably the best medical society in the world. And now from June on, then I'll have 2 years as Secretary General, and I look very much forward to that, to do more thing with all the stakeholders around. So it's not just research, we have these great interactions with you guys, with all the patients organizations, with the industry, with all those stakeholders who basically want the same as we want, a future with better liver care. So that I could talk along about that because I love what I do.
I have to tell you, your voice crackles with passion. It's very impressive. You can hear it.
So you want a secret about me? I guess there are a bunch of secrets. You might have asked my wife instead, but I want a secret. One fun fact, etc. is actually most of my life I've always been attracted to mountains. There are many things where mountains are inspiring. It makes you small, a little humble, and that's healthy. But then I climb mountains, and what mountains do to you when you're at a wall is that actually heals you a bit, because it brings your mind and your soul and your body closer to each other. Normally what we do, you're not necessarily physically where you're mentally. But if you are 100 meters off a wall, I can assure you, then you are physically where you're mentally. And if not, you're in trouble.
I've never had that experience. I have had the opposite, which is until my ears wouldn't let me anymore, I was a scuba diver. So I would go maybe 30, 40, 50 yards down a wall. And then you have to be very careful of your breathing and your oxygen. And if you're not completely present, it doesn't end well. That's a fantastic thing. And I believe you are the first climber as compared to people who've hiked large mountains. But I think you're the first person who's been on a wall and talked about it to do this podcast yet. So congratulations. We're 189 episodes in, and you're unique in one more way than you knew before that.
He's clearly gained more of my recognition too, Aleksander. That's a truly exciting story. Beyond the passion that you bring to research and EASL, of course. That's great.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. So with that, why don't we just start with our usual weekly icebreaker. One good thing, personal or professional, that's happened in the past week or looking forward to in the next week, if you're a guest, that you'd like to share with us. Brave one, go first.
Let me start because I haven't said something for a while. I mentioned my downside was probably 0 points for Germany in many competitions at ESC. But on the up and side, I just fixed a new set of bikes for my 8-year-old, and she started to bicycle. So we got a new bike, and she's even faster now. It's almost that I can't run with her anymore. So that'll be fun. You'll see me chasing a 8-year-old down the road.
Boy, that sounds like fun. No, it doesn't. Next.
I'll jump in next. As you know, I'm in Perth, so last week I started rowing. And I don't row normally, so a skiff boat. So it's not one of those narrow boats that you see on the Thames or the competition rowers. It's more an old fishing boat from Scotland with a set of, shall I say, octogenarians. So I'm the youngest in the boat at the moment.
Is this like a dragon boat kind of thing, Louise?
No, it's rowing. It's just one oar. And there's 5 of us in the boat with the steer and cocks. But it was lovely. And the Swan River was flat calm. And it was 7 o'clock in the morning. So it gets me out of bed early. That's all I can say. But it was a new experience and a very good exercise. So something I hope to continue here. So that was a nice way to start last Friday.
So the ever-compassionate Professor Schattenberg and myself hope that you don't do that at 7 a.m. on Tuesday mornings when you're doing podcasts with us until 3 in the morning on Tuesday. I hope you're not getting out of bed in 4 hours after you finish this to go do it again, is I guess what I'm saying.
No, I've got a clinic somewhere else, so I will be getting up in about 4 hours, but yes.
Okay. My people are very good at guilt. I feel it. Sven or Aleksander, why don't one of you go ahead?
I can go. So this is actually something with what we do. But I'm on my way off to the Turkish Association for the Study of the Liver's meeting. So we're working and have great colleagues all over the world. And then they invited me, and I'll go there and actually look very much forward. I've never been there, and I think we're eager at EASL also to bridge better relation and closer collaborations with the Turkish Society, which is really, really nice people. So look very much forward to that.
Excellent. And Sven?
Yeah, and I will counterbalance Jörn's experience with the Eurovision Song Contest because Belgium did quite well. We ended up 7th, so this is also always a family moment in the year. So we had a very nice evening, and also the result was encouraging. So really the opposite. And for the rest, I'm looking forward to a long weekend at the seaside. So the future is bright.
Very nice. So I guess my Eurovision comment is that my wife is a fan of Sweden because she's a fan of ABBA, who actually got their start, winning Eurovision 50 years ago. We all know that now because Sweden won it again this time. So she's been celebrating that, and because I am Jewish and have a natural affinity for Israel, the Israelis finished 3rd. So in our house, we thought we had a really good Eurovision this year. I will leave it at that because, as I've noted, I refuse to talk about football anymore. So with that, why don't we dive into our episode at the end of next month? I think Louise is still going to be in Australia or back in Australia, but the rest of us will all be in Vienna for the 2023 EASL Congress. Has it always been EASL Congress, or I thought it used to be just called?
No, we changed the name because we love the name EASL. So we felt, how can we have the best liver meeting in the world and not have our own name in the name of the meeting? So then we changed it back to EASL Congress.
That sounds appropriate. It's EASL's Congress. So that makes sense. First of all, just to get started, to Sven and Aleksander first and the rest of us, can you tell our listeners one thing in particular about this meeting that makes you excited this year?
You cannot get one thing there. You have no idea what's coming. This is the best meeting, the strongest meeting that ever been undertaken if you're interested in fatty liver diseases or NASH. It has never been more exciting. The program have never been wider. Every single day there are numerous things. So if your expectations are high, then set them higher. And then you'll probably be ready to consume what we got for you guys. So it's difficult, I think, because with the layers we have now, because it's really a priority to EASL. So it's a big priority. We have all these developments. We have massive number of really high quality research, both from the industry side, with launch of phase 3 trials, numerous hundreds of abstracts. We got a big release of the nomenclature, etc. You name it. We even have outreach things where we go out and have events where we do liver screening in the streets, and we go to schools to learn them about healthy foods in the community. So you just ask what you want, and I can direct you to something where you will experience something you probably not had felt at that level before. So you cannot give you one thing.
Well, I will make a note to call back to the Congress and ask to go to one of your on-site healthy liver screenings or teaching in the schools, because I've not been to that as part of a Congress before. That sounds great.
You're most welcome.
Sven?
Yeah, I can only echo that. It's an incredible program, and we shortened it a little compared to previous editions. It's one day less, but the program is extremely rich, and as Aleksander already said, it's even outside the Congress venue that there are activities. But we also have the activities for the nurses, for the patients, the industry, the science. It's really, there's something for everybody there, and the level of the program, the quality is really very, very high. So I'm very excited, very looking forward. If I compare it to previous editions and other meetings, this is a very, very attractive program.
Well, so with all respect to my American patriots, this is my favorite meeting. So if in fact it's 2 or 3 levels above last year, I can't even imagine, but I'm incredibly excited.
And now, back to Roger.
We hope you've enjoyed this recording. If you have any questions or comments about the content of this conversation or the entire episode, please put them in the review section of the page from which you downloaded the conversation, or send an email to questions@surfingnash.com. Please remember, we will have extensive EASL Congress coverage, starting with the second preview episode posted June 14th, same-day coverage during the Congress, and finishing with 2 follow-up episodes, one on abstracts and one on basic science, posting on June 28th and July 12th. Next week, co-chair Jeff Lazarus will be our guest and join his other co-chair, our co-host Jörn Schattenberg, to review this weekend's coming Innovations in NAFLD Care Conference in Barcelona. It should be fascinating. So until then, stay safe, surf on. We'll see you on the podcast. Bye-bye now.